Hi everyone and welcome. I'm Mike.
And I'm Joey.
And this is Just Like You, where we're going to try to find things that we have in common and others have in common. Otherwise today we're going to talk about things we have in common, which is our interest in the paranormal, folklore. We've picked North Carolina being it's our state, that we think we should go ahead and start there. We'll venture out. Maybe you can send us some more stories in your local area. First one I'm going to start off with was a personal favorite. It's called The Little Red Man, and not this red man. Cue video. The legend of the Little Red Man begins in the Single Brothers house, which is in the historic Old Salem Village and Gardens in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. It's an old 1700s village that they still keep up appearances today, complete with bakery and blacksmith shop. But a legend comes from there, and they keep very good records apparently since the 1700s there. So this is on record, and you can go look it up. On March 25th, 1786, a shoemaker named Andres Kessmer was killed while excavating a foundation for an addition to the brothers' house. Working late one night, he was caught under falling earth and passed away hours later. He was widely mourned by his brethren and the people of the community. He seemed to be an all-around nice guy. For years afterwards, they would hear noises like the shoemaker's hammer throughout the house, and a small man wearing a red cap like the one that Kessmer was wearing when he passed away could be seen walking through the halls. One of the most documented and famous encounters was of little Betsy, whose grandmother was a resident of the home at the time because it was converted into a house for the widows. Anyway, little Betsy was stricken with an early childhood illness, and she couldn't speak, or she could speak, but she was deaf. That's what I'm trying to say. Not knowing anything about the accident or the ghost, she one day ran to her grandmother in the garden and asked her about the little man with the red cap that kept insisting on her playing with her. To which the grandmother, thought was quite odd and looked into it, and that's where they discovered the Kessmer story. Legend has it also that when he made his appearance, it was sometimes not at the right moment. An ill-fated appearance such as that was when a prominent member of the community was showing an important visitor around the cellar of the house where he had passed away, and the visitor saw the Little Red Man and was overcome with just grief and frightened by the encounter. So the pissing off pretty much the prominent member of the community, he brought in a priest who pretty much exorcised, or if you will, blessed the house, and from then on the Little Red Man has not been seen since.
Not bad. Yeah, good stuff.
Well, that's what I have, Joey. What about yours?
Alright, today we're going to get into the story of Theodosia Burr. Theodosia Burr was well known for being very sophisticated and also very well educated, being the daughter of Vice President Aaron Burr. Theodosia Burr suffered from long stretches of illness. She frequently traveled to spas seeking treatment, and during this time she became a bit of a recluse. She didn't go outside very much or socialize with other people because she was sick for months on end. In 1812, Theodosia's young son had passed away. Theodosia fell into a deep depression, and it was months before she felt well enough to travel to New York. On October 31st, 1812, Theodosia boarded a small ship known as the Patriot in Georgetown. After this point, she was never seen again. The War of 1812 was raging, and some say the Patriot was sunk by enemy action. Others say that the ship fell victim to a group of wreckers known as the Carolina Bankers. These men operated out of Nags Head, North Carolina, and set up false signal lights to draw ships in around the treacherous waters around the Outer Banks. They would descend on the wrecked ships, murder the passengers and the crew, and take anything worth plundering. Some years later, a portrait of Theodosia Burr had turned up in a fisherman's cottage near Nags Head. The story goes, in 1869, Dr. William Poole was called in to treat a poor fisherman's wife who was near death. The doctor offered what treatment he could to ease the woman's pain, but there was little he could do to prolong her life. The fisherman was grateful but had little money, Instead, he produced an unusually fine oil portrait of a young woman and asked if the doctor would accept it as payment. The doctor, finding such a valuable piece of art in the poor man's house, he was shocked. Dr. Poole asked the fisherman how he came by it. He had said that many years ago, a young woman had drifted ashore in a rowboat near Nag's Head. The woman had no memory of who she was or where she had come from, and the only item in her possession was the portrait which she had been clinging on to. Eventually, the fisherman that had found her had taken her as his wife, and they both settled down in the community nearby, Nag's Head. The doctor said he would gladly accept the painting as payment. Upon doing so, hearing this, the old woman rose up out of the bed and said, "It is mine. You cannot have it. I am on my way to visit my father in New York, and I'm taking this picture of his darling Theodosia." William Poole's family kept the portrait and told the story for years. Now called the Nag's Head portrait of Theodosia Burr, the painting can be seen in the Lewis Walpole Library in Farmington, Connecticut.
Alright, the next one I have for you today is on the Devil's Tramping Ground. Now, everybody should know, Devil is alive and well in North Carolina. So we're going to start off with Chatham County, Siler City, North Carolina, and it says it's near Harper's Crossroads. Pretty much the Devil's Tramping Ground is a spot in the woods. It's remote, and there is a circle of ground that produces no vegetation. Not only that, if you were to plant anything, they say, into the circle, it would wither and die away. Many of the beliefs based on this is the fact that the devil comes out at night and paces around thinking of his devilish ideas to ruin mankind. This is widely believed based on the fact that many settlers to this part were the Scotch-Irish, which were in their beliefs that if anything couldn't be explained, it was the devil. Others say that it's from battles from Indian tribes in North Carolina, and this is where they'd stack their dead. And so many soldiers, the blood would seep into the ground, causing it pretty much unusable ever again. There's also other ones that base around the fact that UFOs have come, and this is a landing spot for a UFO that left the ground radiated and unable to acquire the nutrients needed to grow life. I think it's just something we'll never explain, and even though it used to be creepy back when I was a kid, it's a party spot for teenagers now, and if that tells you anything, I guess the youth of today really aren't afraid of the devil.
This is very true. I thought this one was pretty interesting, entitled Blackbeard's Ghost. Everybody should be familiar with the infamous pirate Blackbeard. He was known to have a spot on Ocracoke Island known as Teach's Hole. This was a small inlet reported to be the spot where the pirate Edward Teach, also known as Blackbeard, preferred to anchor his ship. It's also said to be where he met his end, and some say his ghost still haunts the spot to this day. A ship from Virginia commanded by John Maynard was sent down to North Carolina coast to track down and kill Blackbeard. During the battle, he followed. Blackbeard was shot 5 times and stabbed no less than 20. Blackbeard was beheaded, and his head was hung from the bow of Maynard's ship. The remainder of his body was thrown overboard. Legend has it that the headless body swam around Maynard's ship 3 times before sinking below the waters. Ever since then, it's been said that Blackbeard's ghost haunts the spot known as Teach's Hole. On stormy nights, it's said that you can hear Blackbeard's voice calling out in the wind. Many people have heard roaring sounds coming from the wind on dark and stormy nights. Ooh, scary. A roaring sound that sounds like someone bellowing, "Where's my head?" Personally, I prefer to think if he's a pirate, it's more like, "Arr, where be me head, matey?" But, who knows if they even spoke like that.
This is just one of many topics we want to talk about. They all range. They're huge. We've got so many ideas. We just got to figure out how to bring them to you and the world.
Well, this is just a small sampling of what's available as far as legends and ghost stories in North Carolina, and I'm sure there are many more out there in other states. And if you have any, that you're aware of in your state and you would like to hear it put on this channel, you can leave us a comment down below and let us know what you think.
So a lot of our source material came from a great website. If you want to check out more North Carolina legends or folklore, it's really good. I found it when I was looking for everything. It's northcarolinaghost.com. There you've got all kinds of things, even directions to how to get to these places. So check it out.
Yeah, make sure you check them out. It's pretty cool. So as always,
Guess we'll wrap it up there.
yeah, we'll wrap it up right there.
All right. Well, I'm Mike.
And I'm Joey.
And we're just like you.